right, for those of you who are regulars at our show, which I think there's a lot of you, this is Gandalf, Gandy. He is our 24-year-old male Hyacinth Macaw. And he has been here with us at the bird show basically since he was old enough to leave his family. He was bought from a breeder right here in Minnesota, so he has never been a wild bird. He has been born and raised with us at the bird show. Gandalf is a perfect example of finding out what the best fit is for each bird. That is, in my opinion, one of our biggest challenges here. All parrots, all birds, at least that we have here at our bird show, other than chickens, which we don't have right now, but birds are wild animals. They're not domesticated. Come on over here, boy. They're not domesticated animals. So every instinct that a wild parrot has, Gandalf has. He's not like your Labrador at home that looks at you expectantly like, okay, what do you want me to do now? He doesn't do that. Except after 20 years, he kind of now knows to look at us to see what we want him to do. But that's not how it starts out. How it starts out is all about building trust. I know Carrie talked a little bit about it takes a really long time to get in, that's what we call it, get in, be friends, be in the inner circle with our birds. Gandalf here is one of the final birds that trainers get trained in on, for a couple reasons. First off, Gandalf is probably our most valuable bird at the bird show. And I'm not talking money-wise, I'm talking personality-wise, intelligence, versatility. You can't put a price tag on this bird. You can put price tags on Hyacinth Macaws, they'll cost you about $10,000 to buy them. But Gandalf is worth so much more than that. He's invaluable because he is always ready to try something new. One of our first steps when we're working with a bird that we've never worked with before, one of our first steps is that we approach them as calmly, as carefully as possible. We want to make sure our birds are not stressed out. One of the easiest ways to do that is to give them a snack. Just like us, if somebody gave you a cookie, you'd probably calm down and be pretty happy with your life. We need to find what Gandalf is best at, and we also need to find out what his favorite snack is. Grapes, you'll see us feed grapes to our parrots a lot, and grapes are a really high value item for them. I don't know why grapes are a high value item for them, but I'm glad they are because they're small and they're manageable and they don't get mushy in your pocket, so that's really good. Especially when it's summertime and it's 100 degrees on stage and you're giving Gandalf grapes. It's nice not to have big mushy pocket grapes. It's a little insight in the bird show you probably didn't need to know. So learning the bird's behaviors, learning his personality, that's one of the biggest challenges, and that's why it takes so long to get in with Gandalf. He has an enormous beak. The crushing power of his beak, if I'm remembering my numbers right, and I'm not great with numbers, but if I'm remembering right, crushing power of his beak is pretty similar to that of a timber wolf or a hyena. Yeah. He's much smaller than both those guys, but incredible crushing power in his beak, because of course they break into a couple of types of palm nuts. I'm sure you've heard all about that in our shows. That beak has the potential to be incredibly dangerous. And it takes 2 years because that's 2 years of you gaining knowledge of working with birds that are so potentially dangerous. But it's also 2 years of the birds seeing you, knowing that you're not a scary person. Just like when we teach our kids how to approach dogs or how to approach somebody else's cats that they've never met before, it's always very calm. It's always the animal is telling you if you can move forward or not. We let the birds talk to us in that manner. That's one of the biggest struggles in this job is learning what our birds are trying to tell us and learning what we're telling them back with our body language. I'm not a patient person. I know that. But working here at the bird show has made me a lot more patient, and it's made me a lot more aware of what I'm doing when I'm interacting with the birds. You gotta be aware of every single tiny body language thing that you're doing and every tiny body language thing that he's doing. What we want to try to do with our birds, when they're learning a routine, when they're working in the show, we want to eliminate ourselves as anything that might make something go wrong. And that way, that gives Gandalf the best chance to be successful during the show. And that's really, at the end of the day, we just want them to be successful. So Gandalf is top 5, maybe, right now he's probably in the number 2 slot for my favorite birds here at the show. He is basically everybody's top 5 at the bird show. We're not really supposed to tell you that, but now you know. So I think, let me think, let's see, I think we have two things left. Am I right? Backstage? Friends?
Yes.
Yes. Laura's next, so that means it's time for Piper. Okay, we're gonna take one blue parrot and exchange it for another slightly blue parrot. Okay, we're out of here.
Thanks, Rebecca.